Hey, welcome back. My name's Taylor if you're new here, and I am the founder of Habitat Interiors Co. Today's video, you're going to be seeing a replay version of a recent event I just held. And the whole point of this event was to give people a taste of what it would look like to work with me if you do a design consultation. So I call this service sample, so you can get a taste of what it's like to work with me. If you're interested in getting similar free design advice, I'm hosting this series called Summer Design Delight series. This was the second event in this design series. So we had June, this is July. There will also be one in August that you can still submit your space. So if you're interested in getting free design advice, go ahead and follow the link in the description so you can figure out how to, one, attend and two, submit your space. If you don't want your space to be here on YouTube shared publicly, then you can also check out my service called Sample, which is very similar, just a little bit longer of a session with me. I hope you enjoy this video, and I hopefully will see you in an upcoming event.
Okay,
Thank you.
cool. Let's jump into it. Yeah, of course, no problem. Okay, so a little background information for those who haven't submitted or, I guess haven't submitted. I've asked folks three primary questions. The first one is, what is the number one problem that if we solve together would feel like a big win? And Kat, feel free to jump in at any time to be like, oh, I forgot this or whatever. But it sounds like the big thing is that we're looking to put peel and stick vinyl flooring in this bathroom and also look for some ways to optimize storage. So that's the big thing. And then the second question I asked was, what existing elements do I need to keep in mind and use as a jumping off board for the design? So it sounds like the bathroom maybe doesn't have a fully functioning fan. It just gets really humid, and it sounds like maybe there's some things going on with the landlord that hopefully you can get fixed to make it kind of a better functioning bathroom. And it sounds like you're not a huge fan of the standing shower. And let's see, am I missing anything? Mostly just trying to make it feel a little bit nicer, even though it's a small space. And then the last thing was, it sounds like you just barely moved into this place about a month and some change ago, which is exciting. You said that you're in New York and a brownstone, which is really cool, with roommates. And it sounds like this bathroom is next to a living room, which also has high ceilings, a skylight, and that kind of contributes to the humidness and kind of the greenhouse kind of feeling that you get in it. So Kat, is there anything additional that you want to add to what I've already kind of gone over?
Yes, the only thing I'll add is I've since had chats with my landlord. She came in and measured the shower because she was like, maybe we can replace the standing shower. That won't be happening. It's too expensive. But she will be replacing the sink drawer cabinet situation. I don't yet know what that's going to look like, but it sounds like what she found, it will only have one drawer instead of two. So that means less storage than what I currently have.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for that update. Okay, awesome. I'm really excited to dive into this, and I was having fun kind of brainstorming a little bit before we hopped on. I do have a couple additional questions, so I'm glad that you were able to join today live. So my first question is, it sounds like because this is really close to the living area, I'm assuming that even though this is your own single individual bathroom, that this is if you have friends over, other guests, that they're also primarily using this bathroom. Is that correct assumption?
Yeah, that'd be fair to say. The second bathroom is shared, but it's upstairs. So just by ease and default, this bathroom would also be more foot traffic with guests.
Okay, great. That's good to know. And then let's see, another thing that I noticed, I believe the shower door opens on this end, and I noticed that your towel's way over here. Is that hard to get and access your towel once you're like coming out of the shower?
Oh, good question. The towel you see hanging in the photo is a hand towel, but I do keep my like bath towel on the door hanger behind the door. So the only hook I have to hang that large towel is currently behind the door.
Okay. And does that feel like a little bit of an obstacle course to get to, or does it feel like it functions okay?
It feels like it functions okay. When I'm inside and the door's closed, like because it's already small, like I can easily reach for the towel behind the door. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Let's see. I'm trying to remember. I think my only other main question was, it doesn't look like this storage system in the corner here is like fully stocked up. And I was curious if that was just like, you're just moving in, you were needing to put more stuff in there, or if it feels like maybe it doesn't need to be this massive place.
Yeah, good question. This came with the shower, so I definitely have like some more beauty products that I could unpack and find homes for, but I just haven't yet. But I would say like my essentials are currently out that I use on a daily basis.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Super helpful. Okay, so let's start with the pill and stick flooring, since you mentioned that first. So I am having a hard time thinking that if it gets super humid in here, that vinyl and like pill and stick flooring is going to be like a great option, just because I think that the humidity will kind of make it pill and come up a little bit faster. So I don't know if I would necessarily suggest to start with that. However, it does sound like potentially the fan and like the circulation issue could maybe be figured out in the future. And if that's the case, then I want to like make sure that I give you like some information around pill and stick tile flooring stuff. So I wouldn't say necessarily like that would be the first thing that I would recommend for the space. However, I will put this in the chat of somewhere that I think does decent film stick tile. They don't have like a huge selection necessarily, but they do have a few good things. The brand is called Chasing Paper, and I usually wouldn't recommend something that's kind of like trying to look like, I know they have like a slate version and like a marble solution. I wouldn't necessarily go for any of those, and especially since you're in a brownstone, I think that it would be cool to kind of do something that maybe is a little bit more closely related to like when the house was built. So they have some like fun, more like mosaic tile type designs. Let me just throw one in here so I can kind of, there we go. Okay, let's go into this. So this is one of the patterns that they have. Doesn't obviously need to necessarily be this one. I'm not like fully sure what kind of like style you're going for necessarily. However, something like this that's more just like color blocks is something that I would suggest for this space, to not only have that like kind of like effect of a natural material that usually just doesn't look great, but also just because I think it will kind of go better with this style of home. I haven't seen any other pictures of the brownstone necessarily, but I feel like I'm familiar enough with that I can kind of imagine what else might be in the space. So let me pause there. And Kat, do you have any thoughts, feelings, or kind of like a aesthetic that you're wanting to go for that maybe I can better inform direction?
Yeah, super helpful tip on like keeping in mind the humidity and like circulation with this. So thank you for that. I would say style wise, so like my towels are like a jungle green, so I really gravitate towards like greens. When I'm looking at the website that you shared, some of the like black and white kind of like tiling stick out to me. And yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a like color in mind, just based other than like what I've chosen for my towels. So I feel like kind of open there, but I appreciate just having even a new site to look at if I decide to move forward with vinyl, peel and stick vinyl. Way cooler than like I think what like local hardware stores have, for example.
Yeah, okay, cool. So I'll go ahead and throw one of the black and white versions in here just so we have kind of a better base that feels helpful for you. So I love that you're gravitating towards this because I think that this even probably more so goes better with a brownstone. So I love that there's going to be some continuity in the space, even if it's stick and fill tile. So awesome. Okay. The second thing to address, it sounds like, is primarily storage. And even more so now that we know that the vanity is going to have even less storage. So let's see. So you said that that towel that was hanging above the toilet wasn't necessarily for like a bath towel, but for a hand towel. And I'm assuming that that isn't probably ideal for, since it's like pretty much the opposite of the sink as far as where it's located in the room. So I was thinking that there could be a fun like wall shelf with a towel bar kind of a situation. So let me pop in a few different ideas that I had as far as putting something. Let's see, I think maybe this picture is kind of the best to work with. Oops. Okay, so the way I always really enjoy incorporating wood into a space. If the humidity continues to be an issue, I don't know if it's necessarily the number one option to go, but I always just enjoy like adding in a little bit of warmth, especially in a bathroom when it can feel pretty like cold and sterile. So I found this kind of like wooden shelf with a towel bar. So potentially it could squeeze right in here. Actually, let me check the dimensions on this really quick to see if it generally feels like something. Okay, it's 6 inches deep, so it might be a little too chunky for this area. But I trust that you can measure and like determine if that would be a good situation. There was also a few others that I was looking at. Let's see. I found this cool company recently called Shelfology, and they do more kind of like metal shelving. And let me throw a picture of one of those. They have their designs and like, oh yeah, no. Hi, Kat. I was just talking about how like your current mirror is kind of doing a lot of work as far as like being a shelf on top here and then in the middle, and then also obviously this things that you have on the sink. Mm-hmm. And I was talking about how this kind of middle solution is the slimmest profile. It's about 4 inches instead of like, I think I said this one was 6, the wood shelf. So it's definitely the slimmest to fit on this wall. And then it also just kind of has some interesting features integrated into it for a hand towel or for toothbrushes. So I thought that that was kind of fun. I'll put a link in for this if you want to check it out a little bit more. And then they have a bunch of different colors, like, oh, it looks like 20 colors, maybe more. So that could be a fun idea for that little nook. Oops, I just went to the wrong screen. So I'll put this, little image just because I think it's a nice visual to see. Let's see. I'm not sure that there's much else that we can really fit in this little area, just because it is really slim. But I think that it's worth kind of talking a little bit more about some of the other space that you have in the bathroom. Yeah, I mean, that's what. Oh.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Something that crossed my mind was with that mirror. I don't know how it was installed. And I'm like, oh, I wish I could like remove it and put something like a medicine cabinet up, but I don't know how renter friendly that is. And I kind of am like, would that be more of a headache for me? So yeah, agree to maybe explore elsewhere too.
Yeah, totally. And I could tell that like in this picture that you kind of have like a lot of room here between the mirror and the sink, but it looks like there are some different outlets and stuff. I thought it'd be fun to suggest putting something here, but I'm guessing it doesn't really fit, and there wouldn't be any place to really mount anything. Is that feel correct?
Yeah, that's right. And those outlets are the only outlets in the bathroom where I have those two plugins in. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, I would definitely suggest checking out Shelfology. And they have a lot of different products on there. So if that particular one doesn't seem to fit that space very well, there's a corner unit one that I was actually going to suggest for the next submission for a completely different reason, but might be something worth looking into. Okay, let's go ahead and go back to this space because I think that around the toilet is probably where there's the most real estate to kind of capitalize on, because we have this whole wall here, and then I'm not sure how much space is kind of in between the door and the toilet, but potentially some wall space kind of to the left of the toilet here. That I think is very much worth looking at. So
I can say there isn't anything. The only thing I can fit right there is a toilet plunger. But it's not enough space where anything else could fit. The toilet plunger is kind of like puzzled in there behind the toilet seat cover.
Okay, cool. So let's see. There were a few different things that I was looking at. Let me see what I can find. Okay, so if we're going to put anything on the ground, which I don't think that there's like a ton of room for necessarily. However, if that is desirable or able to do something there, I found this on West Elm, this really kind of like thin, I think it's like 6 inches or something square, that is on roller wheels actually, and it's just kind of like hides some storage in a corner. This is the smallest design that they have. They have some ones that are also like a little bit longer, but if this feels helpful at all, I know it's a really tight space, so potentially something like this could be useful. I'll drop this in the chat if you want to explore. But the main thing that I want to focus on is that I think that there's a lot of wall space that we can utilize. And I think that that's kind of our best direction for optimizing storage. And um, like what I was saying earlier about like trying to introduce some wood, because I think that that's usually just kind of the easiest way to like warm up a space that's inherently usually pretty cold, like a bathroom. I found this wall mounted unit, and my hope was kind of more if we relocated this hand towel to be closer to the sink, that something like this could kind of plop above the toilet. I really love closed storage. However, I think, I mean, this is closed storage, I guess, but I really like that there's glass on it as well, because it can kind of just make it feel not so heavy in a small space. So it has just kind of like some reeded glass, but then the wood accents. And it has 3 shelves in there. So I think that would like do quite a bit to help with storage. And maybe having that above the toilet over the hand towel could potentially be a little bit more functional for, I'm assuming that like people wash their hands more often than like they put on their face cream or whatever else you might be storing. Or there are, or at least I have a lot of bathroom items that are kind of like, I use that like once a week or whatever. And depending how much storage your new kind of vanity situation brings, maybe that's kind of a better use for it. So yeah, I'll put links to that as well. Any thoughts or reactions so far to what I'm throwing out here?
Yeah, I agree with you. I really love wooden elements too. So I would say like my bedroom leans more like warm earth tones with greens. So I love that you picked up on that for the bathroom. I think that could be cool if humidity isn't like an issue, which I feel like it would really only be an issue in the summer, which summer right now is peak time. And when you were showing this Zara wall shelf, it just made me think of it's like a cool parallel to the standing shower bathroom, which I don't care for, but like it's cool to see that. I feel like the shelf in a way kind of makes the shower cooler since they kind of match in that way. I don't know. That's how my brain was processing it.
Yeah, like it's a repeated element, so it feels like just more intentional, and like you want it to be in the same space if you're choosing the element to be repeated. Yeah, totally. Okay, cool. The only other thing that I thought would be fun to share, I wasn't, so earlier when I asked about this kind of corner piece in the bathroom, I know that you said that the shower feels really like small and tight, and I wondered like how much space like that piece is kind of like taking up, because that feels like even if it was there when you moved in, something that you could easily like take away and like install when you move out. And if it feels like it's taking up a lot of room, I also found kind of like an interesting, let's see, I got the link first. I guess I'll throw the link in and then I'll put the picture. There's kind of like these interesting storage solutions that are really great for renters that are like completely silicone and they stick really well to surfaces. They come in a bunch of different colors. I don't know if this mint color is necessarily going to do anything for you. But they hold really well onto the surface. Like I think it's like 40 pounds or something crazy, which feels a little mind-boggling to me. But I just kind of like that it was a little bit sleeker of a design, a smaller footprint. So hopefully you could show like the shower isn't taken up by like a whole nother element. And honestly, like they're not too expensive. There are different ones other than just the corner one. Like if you felt like there was somewhere else that you wanted to place this. And yeah, I don't know. You tell me how much room this feels like it's taking up for you, Kat.
I wouldn't say it's taking up a ton of room. So like when I'm in the shower, I don't feel like I'm bumping into it. But I think the things I don't like about it is, one, it makes it hard to clean, like getting behind there. And then yeah, I kind of don't know if I like need that much space like in that area. Like I think I'd prefer having maybe one or two, and maybe even like something that's not a corner shelf. So I think for those reasons, it's not my favorite.
Yeah.
So yeah, the suggestion that you put, I actually really like these, and I'm just curious about the cleaning. Like since they adhere on, like is it more of just like a scoop and clean situation? It doesn't look like anything below drains it. Is that right?
There are like actual like little holes at the bottom, so they drain out. So, oh, sorry, my screen just did the thing. So yeah, like inside like the little pocket, it would drain out. As far as like getting behind the thing, I'm not totally sure if it's like something that would be encouraged to like take off and then put back on, just because I don't think that would do great for the longevity of the adhesive. But yeah, the actual little shelf itself actually drains out. So, yes. Okay, I think those were all of my kind of thoughts that I was having. But yeah, Kat, tell me if there's anything else that you would like me to look at, or other ideas that you would like me to explore.
I guess keeping in mind, if I decide not to move forward with vinyl peel and stick, I've considered like working with the existing tile as is. Like I've never done any sort of like grout recoloring or like deep clean of a grout. Like I think outside the shower, the tile is just like really uneven in terms of color. So I guess I'm wondering like what I could do to work with the existing tile if peel and stick isn't an option, or do I get creative with like a more fun shower rug? The one that I currently have is more like rectangular, but I've thought about like if I find a cool shower rug that maybe can be more flush against the round shower, maybe I cut it up so it's more flush, and that could be cool to kind of cover the tile a bit. So welcome ideas, but yeah.
Yeah, totally. When you say that the color is uneven, are you talking about the tile itself or
The grout? So the grout, I know it's kind of hard to tell in that image, but some parts of the grout are like white, and I think it's maybe just from like paint or like use over time. And so it's not all one consistent color.
Okay. Yeah, so my recommendation. So I can tell in this picture a little bit better that like it seems like the dark grout I think kind of looks nicer with this tile. So if you were to like experiment with the grout, I think that honestly a darker color probably makes the most sense here. However, I think that like the large rug here honestly is doing quite a bit for you. If you wanted like to change the rug for any reason, I think that that's totally cool. Honestly, I don't dislike the tile very much, so my suspicion is more that it's like the grout would be the easier thing to address to like the tile. And also, I think that sometimes I think we focus a lot on like trying to cover up elements that we don't like. And I think that there can be a lot done for like bringing in fun elements that kind of like almost distract us from like things that we don't like necessarily. For like example, if there's a lot of guests coming in and out of this bathroom, it could be fun to like make something really fun that that they're going to use, like a fun like soap dispenser, so they're like, oh, like they're that they're going to interact with this, and it's kind of like a fun talking point that kind of like doesn't scream like look at the floor. So I kind of like that your rug is kind of subtle with the tile because it doesn't draw more attention, like your eye, to that necessarily. So yeah, I think if you don't go with the stick until tile, I think that's totally fine and what you kind of are currently doing. I mean, I haven't seen this space in real life, so maybe you're like spotting things that I'm not currently, but I kind of like the idea of like drawing attention away with other like fun elements in a sense. Does that make sense?
Totally. And I hadn't even thought about that. So thanks for that perspective shift. And now it's like allowing me to just think outside the box when it comes to distracting from the floor in other fun ways. So thank you.
Yeah, cool. Okay, awesome. I'm excited. If you do anything that you want to share, my email is always open. I would love to see what it ends up looking like. Also, congrats on moving into a new space. I should have said that earlier, but yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no problem. All right. We're going to now jump into the next space. I think I took a little bit more time than I was expecting, but it's always fun when you're here and able to interact with me and the other person hasn't showed up yet. So we'll do a little like fly through with this other one, I think.
All right, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch you either in my next video or next event. So thanks, bye.